Hey guys, my name is Michelle and welcome to The Weight of Things. If you are new here, please take this time to click that subscribe button below as well as that bell so you can get notified of every time that I create a new video. In this video, what we are going to be talking about is two of the most important things on your analytics for channel growth, and that is your audience retention and your click-through rate. Many small YouTubers put a lot of focus on their subscriber count as well as their watch time. Those two things are very important for YouTubers in general because those are the two requirements needed for you to get monetized. If you are getting a lot of views on your video, but people are only spending a few seconds to a few minutes on your video, then that tells YouTube that people are liking your video because maybe they like your title, they like your thumbnail, but when they actually get on the video, they're not really enjoying the content for whatever reason that may be. This is one of the very reasons why I am totally opposed to sub for sub and even support for support, where people will say, oh, watch a few minutes of my video. Because that support is not genuine, it actually looks bad on your video. If you have a video that's 10 minutes and that person's only going to watch 2 minutes and other people have only watched 30 seconds or a few seconds up to 2 minutes, then that brings your percentage down. And that tells YouTube that people are clicking on your video, but they're not actually liking it. And because YouTube's sole concern is to get people on the platform for as long as possible, if they see that people are clicking on your videos but not watching it, that is not a good look for them and they may stop promoting that video at least for a time. So I've been working really hard on trying to get my audience retention and my click-through rate up. And I have narrowed it down to 5 key things that I believe that has caused my audience retention and my click-through rate to go up for my recent videos. So the first tip that I have is in regards to your click-through rate.
In case you are unaware of what your click-through rate is, it is the percentage of times that people have clicked on your video when YouTube has suggested it to them.
Now, the number one thing that everybody needs to know when it comes onto your click-through rate is that you need to definitely have eye-popping thumbnails and you definitely need to have a good title. I would say that your thumbnail is even more important than your title. And the reason being is because if you have a video that is, let's say, titled How to Bake Chocolate Chip Muffins, when somebody types that in, there's going to be hundreds upon hundreds of other videos with that same title. The most important thing is not about that specific title, but about why that person is going to click on your video rather than the hundreds of other videos that are there to click on. So this is why I think it is so important for your thumbnail to be one that really stands out. Now, recently, I just did a video talking about my experience doing the Thingz challenge. And I know that there are hundreds upon hundreds of result videos for this specific challenge. And I knew that even doing my keyword research that, you know, my chances of like getting views on this video were going to be quite low because of the competition. So I knew that I needed something more than just my title, more than just my keywords to get me to stand out. So this is the tip that I have for your thumbnails. Whatever your video topic is, I want you to type that into YouTube and see all the videos that come out. I want you to look at all those videos and all those thumbnails and ask yourself which one of those videos stand out to you. Which one of those thumbnails makes you want to click on it and watch that video. Even try asking some of your friends and family members. Ask them, show them all the list of videos and ask them which one would they click on to watch. Whichever video that they would click on to watch, I want you to recreate that thumbnail and make it even better than that one. Tip number 2 that I have for you is adding graphics and sound effects in your video. Oftentimes people may put on a video when they're cooking or when they're doing something and you know, they may start watching the video and then they kind of zone out because of everything that's going on around them. This is one of the reasons why adding sound effects are good, because sometimes if they're watching your video and then they start talking to their children or something and they start doing something and they kind of zone out to the fact that they were watching a video, it's kind of just noise in the background. And then they hear this sound effect and all of a sudden it kind of draws their attention back to the video. The other thing with adding pictures and graphics is I believe that it really helps the person's attention span. Like, we have to remember that we don't want to be newscasters just sitting in front of the screen talking the entire time with nothing else to look at. This is one of the reasons why vlogs are very popular, because people like to see different scenes. They like to see different movement. They like to see what you're doing. Depending on what your topic is, they may not want to just sit there and watch you talking to the screen for 10 to 20 minutes. And another key thing that I did want to mention, I do find that channels that have more than one person talking at a time, like a husband and wife or, you know, 2 friends or whatever that are talking and doing the video together, because there is that dynamic of the both people, it can make it a little bit more entertaining without needing to have those little breaks. Now, certain topics that is okay for, especially ones that are informational, because a lot of times they are so wanting to find out that information, whether it's learning a new skill or whatever it is, that they won't mind sitting there just watching you on the screen because they're actually learning something. So adding different graphics and different pictures on the screen, it kind of just gives a change of perspective. Instead of them looking at you just sitting on the screen, they're looking at other things that are popping up. They're hearing all these different sound effects. That is kind of just making it a little bit more interesting. And that brings me to tip number 3, which is changing your volume as well as the perspective of the video. So right now that I'm talking like this, but I can also grab my camera and talk like this or like this. Those are just minor perspective changes, but even with a minor change like that, it changes the person's view, what they can see. I actually got this tip from another YouTuber, Catherine Manning, and I decided to try it out in my last video. All of these tips I tried out in my last previous video, and I have seen a jump in my audience retention and in my click-through rate. Changing your volume again is something that is kind of like the same thing with I said with the sound effects, where if you're just talking like this the whole entire time, it can be very boring, and then the person, but if you're talking like that and then all of a sudden, oh, and then I remember I was gonna say, it kind of, again, like even if that person was kind of like, you know, starting to not really pay attention to you, that little bit of a volume change can kind of get their attention. And that's what I was also mentioning with the sound effects. That's why, because if you're talking a certain level, a certain tone the entire time, and then all of a sudden they hear ding or some kind of sound effect or some kind of volume change, it draws their attention again to your video. And that leads me to tip number 4, which is adding B-roll scenes. Now, this is something that, again, I got from Catherine Manning, and I decided to try it in my last video, which is the video that has actually my highest audience retention. And it was just a little scene that I put in where I was going to go and get water. And it felt kind of like weird to do it because it felt like it didn't really fit with the video. I wasn't talking about water, but just to get up and go and get water. But people did seem to really like that because, again, it's a breaking in between just the sitting there and talking. It's something else for people to look at. So it's a little bit more entertaining. They're more willing to watch even a simple thing like getting water. And it also kind of gives like your audience, your viewers, kind of a sense of your day, kind of a sense of something that you would be doing besides just sitting and making a video. And with B-roll scenes, what I would also say is definitely having scenes where there could be bloopers. I've mentioned before that when I first started YouTube, I would take out any little mistake that I made. Even if I coughed, if just something dropped, if my kids made a sound in the background, I would take that out. I wanted it to sound perfect. And that's just the thing. When somebody's coming on YouTube, they're not looking for a perfect actress or actor or a newscaster. They want to see a real life person that they can actually relate to. And being a real life person, you're going to make mistakes. You live in a house. If you have kids, there's going to be sounds. There's going to be all these different things. So trying to make the video seem and look and sound perfect is unrealistic. So even something as simple as that can kind of bring out your personality, kind of tells the people that are watching a little bit about your world, a little bit about the fact that you are real and you do have things that are going on in your life, sounds in the background, things dropping, that you make mistakes. So in one of my previous videos, I actually allowed a sound effect when my daughter had dropped something in the background go in my video, and I kind of made it like I left my facial expression that I had when she dropped it, and I kind of made it into like a little thing. I changed the view of it, and I had people actually comment on that, and it was like, ha ha ha, that was so funny when that thing dropped or whatever. And I was like, like it was the first time I had actually tried leaving it in, and by the reaction of my viewers, I realized that it was something that the smallest little thing, and it's something that I would have thought is so silly and should be removed, that they actually enjoyed. Why? Because it's realistic, it's everyday life, and it shows a little sense of my personality, how I would react to an everyday regular situation that would happen to somebody. So having those kind of things, I think, really builds a connection with your audience, and it makes them, again, want to see more of you and want to watch your videos for longer because they have no idea what else is going to happen. And tip number 5 that I would have for you is doing preview trailer videos on other social media platforms. So you know when a really big movie is about to come out, how do they promote that movie? They don't just have posters everywhere. They do have posters, and that does intrigue people. But a lot of people want to see the trailer. They want to know what it's about. And what do they show on the trailer? They show bits and pieces of different parts of the movie that when it's put together, it looks so interesting that you would want to watch the entire movie, because you know that there's little scenes that you saw in the trailer. You don't know exactly how it's going to end, but it's something to look forward to. So I believe making a short little clip about a minute or two long of like a little trailer of your video, just having little clips and little snippets of your video and putting it into a little short video that you can put on your other social media platforms, especially things like bloopers or little important things that you might say into the video that might intrigue the person and make them want to watch the video because they remember seeing that scene, but they've watched 5 minutes yet and they haven't seen that come yet. So they're going to continue watching because they especially wanted to see that scene into the video. And my bonus tip for you would be to say certain things in the video that might cause the person to want to watch the rest of the video. In my recent video about how I lost and then gained back 100 pounds in a year, I even said in the title with pictures so that people knew that there was going to be pictures. So when they're watching it, or even before they click on it, they know that they're not just going to be sitting there watching me talking. They know that there's going to be pictures and things for them to look at throughout the video. Another thing that you can say is things like, oh, make sure that you watch until the end, where I have a bonus tip for you, or, you know, I'm going to be talking about a giveaway at some point throughout the video, because I do find that sometimes when you say to the end, people may skip to the end just to get to that one particular part that you had mentioned about. But if you say that throughout the video, I'm going to be saying this, or throughout the video, I'm going to be telling you that, then it kind of makes them want to watch the entire video because they don't really want to miss the part that they're looking for. So that's all the tips that I have for you today on how you can increase your audience retention as well as to increase your click-through rate. I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you have any other tips or any questions, please make sure to leave it down in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure and click that subscribe button below and that bell so that you can get notified of every time that I create a new video. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.